Do my Herald spawning tips really work? Well, we're going to find out today on the War Club. Got another versus video for you today. Several weeks ago, I made a video explaining how the Herald spawning works, and I included some tips on how to spawn those Heralds efficiently, with the idea being that the faster you can get Heralds, the better your chances are to get Sunder Charms, and the more Sunder Charms you will get. I'm going to spawn Heralds for 10 hours using the same character. I'm going to do it twice. The first team I'm going to call full act clears. They're not going to use the tips in the video. They're just going to go out into the zones. They're going to kill all the monsters in the zones. They're going to move on to the next one. Whatever Heralds they get is what they get because they don't really know how it works. And then team number 2 we're going to bring in here is going to use all the things I've learned. We'll call them Team War Club. Is going to use all the tips from the video. Like my other versus video, I have burned in the overall time into each video. It got a little bit cut off, so I'm going to move it down here into the center for each one. Let me explain this little counter. The big time counter on the left is the overall time. We're going to go to 10 hours. The number in the middle is the number of Heralds, and the 59.9 is the average time to spawn a Herald. So as we get Heralds, you're going to see that average Herald spawn time come down. We don't have any yet. Both teams are already off. Full act clears has just gone into the Bloodmoor, but Team War Club has skipped the Bloodmoor. They have gone straight to the underground passage. One of the tips in the previous video was to get to that T5 Herald as fast as you can. And the best way to do that is to start in a zone that gives you the best chances to get those early Heralds. Now, the Bloodmoor has a terrible chance to get a T1 Herald, while the Underground Passage has a very high chance to get the Tier 1 Herald. Also, a good reason to go to the underground zones is it's much easier to see and completely clear the zone. So the underground zones tend to be a little bit more linear. You can see what you have cleared and what you haven't cleared because of how they're laid out, while the above ground areas are much more open and it's much more difficult to know where you've been and where you haven't been. However, once you get to T5 Heralds, the above ground areas aren't that bad. You don't have to be as fastidious killing every single monster, since for T5 Heralds, you're much more likely to get it earlier in the zone completion percentage. Like the last versus video, we're going to speed up and skip to the important moments. And right here at 3 minutes, let's look at Team Full Act clears. They're kind of skipping around the Bloodmoor. They've cleared everything, and they did not get that 69% chance. They missed the Tier 1 Herald. So he's going to go down into the Den of Evil, which actually has the worst chance to spawn a Tier 1 Herald in all of Act 1 at just under 50%. Meanwhile, on Team War Club side, they are getting to the Underground Passage Level 2. That zone completion percentage is getting very high now, and they just spawned their first Herald, a T1 Herald. Now we can see the average kicking in there. The average right now is 3 minutes and 31 seconds to get the first Herald. Okay, let's speed up to 6 minutes and see how each team is doing. Full Act Clears is now in the Cold Plains. Cold Plains has a pretty good chance to get the Tier 1 Herald, big zone, lots of monsters. 89% chance, so they're probably going to get their first one there. Team War Club has chosen the Cave to try to spawn the Tier 2 Herald. Maybe not the best choice at only 83%, but they got lucky, so just entering level 2 of the Cave, they get the Tier 2 Herald. Let's speed up to 8 minutes and see that the Full Act Clears are finally going to get their T1 Herald. Team War Club has moved on to, the hole, the zone underneath the Black Marsh, which also has an 83% chance to spawn the T3 Herald. Oh, and there we go. Okay, so Full Act Clears has got their first Herald, the T1 Herald, at 8 minutes and 15 seconds. One other tip that the video talked about was that when you get a Herald, you should bounce to the next zone. Now, Full Act Clears is going to kill their T1 Herald, but they are going to continue farming in the Cold Plains to try to spawn the Tier 2 Herald. Unfortunately, since they have cleared most of the Cold Plains zones, This is a waste of time, and the chance to spawn a Tier 2 Herald for the remainder of this zone is actually 0%. There is no way to get to the 42% zone completion percentage that you need to spawn a Tier 2 Herald in the Cold Plains. Now, this fact will change as Full Act Clears gets to T5. Many people online talk about the Herald spawn chances and how they can get T5 Heralds back-to-back. That's completely possible. The chance to get a T5 Herald exists very early on in zone completion percentage, so you can get them back-to-back very quick. And in fact, this is the only thing that is going to save Team Full Act Clears from getting completely trounced in this competition. I'm not going to show all the Herald spawns, but I am going to show the first Sunder Charm that each side got, and we're going to check in with the counters. It would be a very long video if we did all the Herald spawns because there are hundreds of them. Okay, Team War Club is going to get a Sunder Charm first, but this video isn't about how lucky you get farming your Heralds. It's more about improving your chances of getting a Sunder Charm by getting more Heralds for the time that you spend playing the game. As you can see here, Team War Club is averaging a Herald every 2 minutes and 47 seconds, while Team Full Act Clears, not using the tips, is at almost 5 minutes to get each Herald. As we watch Team Full Act Clears finish the tower, let's talk about another tip from the video that we can see in action here, and that is skipping zones. So Team War Club is skipping bad zones, namely Burial Grounds, Crypt, Mausoleum. Should probably also be skipping Bloodmoor and Den of Evil. They're also bouncing as they get each Herald, so they're moving very fast through the axe. And that has some implications on your shard consumption, the Worldstone shards, but I mean, we get tons of those, so I just felt like this was a more efficient way to use the shards. In a previous competition, we learned that we shouldn't farm past Act 2. Acts 3, 4, and 5, the difficulty increases. You get more monsters immune to your damage, the health pools go way up, you die a lot more. We didn't force Team Full Act Clears to do Acts 3, 4, and 5. They're not Team Full Game Clears. That would have been crazy bad. It was difficult enough as it is, farming for 10 hours the wrong way, or about half as efficiently, so yeah, we didn't do that. We let them start over after clearing Act 2, and both teams are going to start over after clearing Acts 1 and 2. We'll speed up to when Team Full Act Clears gets their first Sunder Charm. That happens at about 2 hours and 21 Heralds in. Interesting enough that both teams got their first Sunder Charm at around the same number of Heralds, that is about 20 Heralds, but Team War Club did it in half the time. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you all the Sunder Charms each side got and some other interesting items. I'm going to fast forward to about midway through the contest at about 5 hours. We're going to watch Team War Club get another Sunder Charm from an Itchy Herald. Interesting, both teams got Sunder Charms from Itchy Heralds. So Itchies have a reduced loot table. They can't drop heavy items. They can only drop items that are consistent kind of with the monster style. They can drop charms, they can drop scrolls, potions, other light things. I wonder if this gives them an improved chance to drop Sunder Charms, since I did get multiples from them. Anyway, my evidence here is anecdotal. Be very difficult to prove. Also very difficult to purposefully spawn Itchies as Heralds. So take that for what it's worth. We're going to go ahead and speed up again to the end at 10 hours. We're going to look at the totals. Here we are, just a few seconds before 10 hours. Team Full Act Clears. Actually, both sides are going to get a Herald right before that 10-hour timer goes off. Team War Club. Forgot to do my Consume Defiler ability, so taking him forever to kill a monster that is both immune to magic and physical. I had to go back to town to get some potions to finish that off. Both teams are kind of set. Full Act Clears got 121 Heralds. Team War Club got 201 Heralds. Team Full Act Clears averaged just under 5 minutes per Herald spawn, while using the tips over on Team War Club, 2 minutes 58 seconds. I really wish I had been able to keep up the pace to get the Heralds in half of the time, and I do believe that there are a few minor tweaks that could be made to possibly do that. We are gonna look at the loot now. Gonna look at it using my Berserker Barb for some reason. I don't know. Okay, let's look at the stash. I have 30 Sunder Charms on this stash. Check out my other video if you want to see how I got those. Okay, shared page number 2. These are the Sunder Charms that I got doing this competition. Team Full Act Clears got 3 Sunder Charms, and Team War Club Tips got 9. You saw the counts that we just talked about. Getting 9 Sunder Charms in 201 Heralds is very lucky. Getting 3 for Team Full Act Clears, 3 was pretty average odds. My Zerker Barb horked this Sunder Charm, so that doesn't count. But anyway, I am at 43 Sunder Charms. If you have more Sunder Charms than me, leave a comment below and tell me how you got all these. I'm trying to figure out the best way to get these. Let's look at some of the other interesting drops that I got while doing this competition. I got an Ormond's Robes with Enchant, a Skin of the Viper Magic that almost rolled perfect at 34 and 12. That's not too bad. I got 4 Skiller Charms. Both of these rolled with Life. These are just basic ones. Found a BK Tribal Guardian. Found this interesting Tiara for Warlock. 2 to Elder Skills, 6 Life Steal, 24 Strength, 13 All Resist, and Teleport. Man, if this had FCR, it would have been absolutely GG. These are the mid-runes that I found. Lem, Gull, and Ist. I found a Rainbow Facet. Anti-Perfect for Fire. -3 and +3. Found some Drax. Those are always good. Found an Ishuda's Temper. Actually found 2 Metal Grid, believe it or not. That's very odd. I don't know. Found an Ethereal Nightwing's Veil. Luckily, I have a non-ethereal because this is probably not something that you would want to Zod, and I will just Charsey this, but it was interesting. Found an Ethereal War Club. Had to keep that. Rolled kind of low on the enhanced damage, unfortunately, but kind of interesting. Found some 220s for Assassin, 2 to Martial Arts, 20% increased attack speed. Unfortunately, the other modifier's not very good. And that's it. So anyway, like I said, working on a Pit Zerker Barb video. Gonna show you what that's kind of like in the next one. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.